Miss Rennet is a retired advocate. She always wanted to be a businesswoman with the money that was paid out to her. She decided to start a business which specializes in selling handbags. Miss Rennet buys the bags directly from the factory. Miss Rennet must pay VAT to the factory for the bags. The factory has to pay the VAT to SARS, and when SARS buys the bags from Miss Rennet, they pay VAT to her, and she has to pay VAT to SARS. Okay, so before we continue, let's just look at that again. So Miss Rennet buys bags directly from the factory, and the factory charges her VAT, right? And then the factory has to pay them. That takes that VAT and sends it to SARS. When customers buy bags from Miss Rennet, they also pay Miss Rennet VAT, and she takes that money to SARS. So let's say that Miss Rennet buys one bag, right? She takes this lovely bag of hers and she pays VAT, which then goes to SARS, to the factory, right? Through the factory. And then she takes this same bag and she sells it, and then she gets VAT from customers, and that VAT also goes to SARS. That means this bag has double VAT on it. Miss Rennet will not pay all the VAT that she receives from her customers to SARS. The VAT that she has to pay to SARS is the difference between what she received from her customers and what she paid to the factory. Oh, now it makes sense. So let's say if the VAT itself was that she paid to the factory was 15 rand, and then she ended up charging VAT for 20 rands, right? And then they will say 20 minus 15. She will take the 5 rand to SARS, not the whole 15 rand. Okay, I get it now. And then the VAT that she has to pay to SARS is the difference. So that's what we're talking about there. Miss Rennet buys 500 handbags from the factory at 120 rand, excluding VAT. She then sells the handbags to her customers for 190 rand each. VAT inclusive. Now, look at this 120 here. It does not include VAT. But this 190 rand includes VAT. So here we can multiply by 15% and find VAT. Always note that. So those of you who still lagging with VAT and looking for lessons on VAT, I do have lessons on VAT. Maybe I'll start linking the links as well to the videos. The bags is cost of bags. So this is before VAT, and since they said that the price for each is excluding VAT, so we want to say for each price it's 120 rands, and then once you multiply that by 500, you get 60,000, right? So now this price here is excluding VAT. So when the price is excluding VAT, it's very easy to calculate VAT, because we can just multiply by 15%, then we'll find VAT, right? So what I'm going to do is, since we want the VAT inclusive, we want the VAT only, so because we want to know how much is going to be paid to SARS, so what we're going to do is say 60, 1, 2, 3, times 15 divided by 100, and that is 9,000 rand. So here the VAT is equal to 60,000 times 15%, which is equal to 9,000 rands, right? So for 3, we're saying calculate how much VAT Miss Rennet will receive from her customers. So now she's bought the bags, and she's going to now sell the bags and receive VAT, again VAT inclusive. You see that price there? Now let's find out how much in total she received first. So the bags, income from bags for Mrs. Rennet. So her income from the bags will be she sells the bags for 190 times 500, and let's see how much she makes there. She makes 95,000 rand. So this is in VAT inclusive, right? So how do we find out VAT from there? What we're going to do is this. What I like to do is I first like to divide by 1.15. Now, those who don't know where I got 1.15 from, that's okay. We said 100 plus 15%, and you get 115%, and we use this to divide the VAT inclusive price by 115. But what I like to do is I like to write it as a decimal, and I say 115 divided by 100, then I say 1,15 from the calculator, and I use 1,15. There are VAT lessons, you don't need to worry, you can watch them. And then when I'm going to do now to find VAT, I'm going to say this 95,000 rand minus 82,608.70. I've rounded off, and then The VAT here is 12,391 rand. So what they said there at the top was, so this is the amount that she received from the customers. That's only VAT. Now let's continue. Miss Rennet also has to pay SARS for VAT she received from her customers. Calculate how much VAT she will pay to the SARS. Now I remember something. They said that she pays the difference, right? You take what she paid to SARS and you take what she collected from the customers, you minus what she what was paid by the factory. So let's do that. So the VAT from her own customers is 12,000. So the VAT that she's going to pay is equal to, you take the VAT from customers, which is 12,391. You subtract the VAT that is paid by the factory, and you get the VAT that she's going to pay to SARS, which is 12,391 minus 9,000, and she's going to pay 3,391 rand to SARS.